Hi students, welcome to Alphos e-learning chemistry classes for second year. The running chapter is organic chemistry and now we are in session number 43. In previous session we completed the discussion on the preparations of ethers and different mechanisms involved, and the byproduct sometime we can expect alkene when we are using the dehydrating agents. Within the molecule, when dehydration happens, it leads to alkene formation. So all the conditions and the temperatures or the catalysts or some other the substrates and the reagents, what are the required conditions for the preparation of the ethers, it has been discussed in previous class. Clear? And now let us move to the properties of these ethers, both physical and chemical properties. And in our syllabus, actually for NEET and mains, only one or two properties they discussed in the NCERT textbook. That's why we have to cover that much. And meanwhile, again here also we are observing different kinds of mechanism depending on the ether what we are considering for the specific reaction. Clear? There I will explain all these things, just you observe, and depending on that one, if any such type of compound when appeared in the question, just you have to think in a logical manner and to get the correct answers, is it not? And first, here in ethers, even the physical properties are also having some sort of priority, that is importance. And let me discuss only the properties, the physical properties that are of finding some sort of importance in competitive mode. They are nothing but, one is we have to discuss about the boiling points of ethers in comparison, and next one is nothing but the solubility. Instead of solubility, simply we can also say that it is nothing but miscibility with water. These are miscibility with water. These two are finding some sort of priority or importance. Okay, and first let us discuss about the boiling point. We have to consider the boiling point of ether. When it is ether, we have to compare it with almost all same molecular weight alkane and same molecular weight alcohol. With these two comparison, we have to consider this. Clear? And just you remember, when we are comparing the either boiling point of comparable alkane, almost, say for example, if we are considering CH3, CH2, 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 CH3, this is nothing but pentane. Here instead of the CH2, if we are considering either, just I think you know, here this oxygen is atomic weight is 16 and this CH2 methylene formula weight is 14, almost same. And thereby now if we observe, this boiling point of this alkane is around 308 Kelvin. It is around 308 Kelvin, and in case of this it is around 320 Kelvin. And now very close boiling point. And now let us consider it is pentanol, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH2 and CH2OH. If we observe, here it is around 390 Kelvin. And why there is variation in this boiling point when compared to this ether with alcohol, and why there is not that much of variation, but some variation is there. With all this, we can say that here in ethers, the bonding between carbon and oxygen is of having some sort of weak polarity. That weak polarity, how we can prove that? That ethers are having still some weak polar nature. Simply these molecules, that is ethers, are having dipole moment. So when the dipole moment present, automatically we can guess there is polarity, is it not? And thereby, because of its dipole moment, we can say that the bonding between carbon and oxygen are weak polar, and that polarity is not sufficient to make it to be deviated in its boiling point. That is, it is not making much intermolecular attraction. That's why it is not having any polarity, and it is having the boiling point around 308, and it is less than 320. Approximately, I may not give the correct data, but it is very close to this one. Clear? And now, why it is finding much variation with alcohol? Because as we know, it is even though polar, in this alcohol there is OH group, and because of that OH group, they are involving in intermolecular hydrogen bonding. But in this case, it is not at all having that much of polarity and intermolecular hydrogen bonding strong, which is not sufficiently strong when compared to this alcohol. That is the reason, because of weak polarity, it is very close in boiling point with this. And this is because of high polarity between OH bond, it is of having more intermolecular attraction and thereby more boiling point. And now coming to miscibility. Miscibility, it is now among these three, let us consider the miscible nature. This one, in case, let us consider some other dimethyl ether and ethyl alcohol. Now let us consider this and ethane. These three are propane. It is CH3O CH3, or otherwise it is CH3 CH2OH, and next one is CH3 CH2. It is nothing but a comparable mass. And now it is of having the solubility around 7.5 grams per liter, and this is of having 9 grams per ml, not liter, per ml. And whereas this is immiscible. Now you observe, in miscibility it is close to alcohol. That's why these 2 points are attracting the competitive mode. Here in boiling point, it is very close to these alkanes, but when compared to miscibility, that is solubility in water, it is close to this alcohol. Why? Because it is similar to, even though it is not having the OH bond, it is similar to that of alcohol. It is also able to form intermolecular hydrogen bonding with the water solvent, and because of its capacity to form that hydrogen bonding with water molecules, it is of having almost same miscibility compared to that of ethyl alcohol. Are you clear with this one? Just you have to remember, boiling point is very close to alkanes because its polar nature is very less or weak polar nature. And how we can say that polar nature is present? It is because of the dipole moment. Clear? And whereas miscibility, we know alkanes are immiscible with water. They are purely covalent. And here alcohols are miscible. And this either is in competition to be miscible with water with alcohol. Why? Because in alcohol, OH bond, OH is creating some sort of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, and similar to that of alcohols, these ethers are also supposed to form intermolecular hydrogen bondings. That is the reason why they are exhibiting miscibility similarity. And now coming to chemical properties of these ethers. Chemical properties of ethers. And now just you observe, unlike that of alcohol, alcohols are having OH bond, and because of this OH, when OH bond cleaves, it is exhibiting some sort of acidic nature. Clear? And in ethers, there is no such type of hydrogen. Acidic hydrogen is not there. That's why ethers are less reactive compared to the alcohols of same molecular weight. That is nothing but simply C2H5O C2H5. It is diethyl ether, and here if it is butanol CH3 CH2 CH2 CH2OH, and it is more reactive compared to this. The reason is nothing but it is of having the acidic hydrogen type. Clear? And now when these ethers are exhibiting the reactions because of CO bond cleavage. CO bond cleavage, and mostly here what we are, some other reactions are nothing but because of the donation of lone pair of electron present on oxygen. And just you remember, because of these lone pairs, it is behaving as Lewis base. Thereby, when it is reacting with any acid like H2SO4, it is forming oxonium. it is nothing but H plus R. This total positive charge is there and it is HSO4, oxonium bisulfate. Just here oxonium is nothing but the positive charge as actually it is existing on oxygen. When oxygen is getting positive charge, its name is oxonium. So oxonium salts will be formed. Oxonium is the cation. It is one. This proves that these ethers are behaving like Lewis bases. Clear? And the other reactions are nothing but the reaction due to CO bond cleavage. Here, when it is forming oxonium salts, there is no CO bond cleave. Is it not? But when we are considering the other, that is second property, ROR, CO bond cleavage, this will happen with HX, just you remember. And here the reactivity of that HX is following the order. HI is more reactive than HBr, more reactive than HCl. And now our discussion is much on this. And for that purpose, just you observe, here we have to imagine different products. Different products depending on the condition, depending on the substrate either. Say for example, now let us consider either is symmetric like this, either is asymmetric like this. Clear? And now when it is either is symmetric or asymmetric, first of all we have to consider HI at low temperature, HI concentrated at high temperature. These are the two conditions. Here also HI at low temperature and HI concentrated HI at high temperature. Clear? And now in this case, that is in case of symmetric ethers, simply you can guess the reaction products. You can easily guess. At low temperature, this reaction is following the SN mechanism so as to give Ri plus ROH. These are the products. Here both the R are same and thereby we need not worry about this, which is of getting iodide, which is getting hydroxide. And in case of concentrated HI, both these two are getting Ri and H2O is formed. So when it is strongly heated with concentrated HI, the product is nothing but only alkyl iodide. And when it is dilute and at low temperature, the products are alkyl iodide as well as alcohol. Clear? And now in this case also, in one condition, that is concentrated HI at high temperature, when we are using, this is also following SN and it is forming Ri plus R bar I plus H2O. So here also we need not worry about that because both these two alkyl groups are getting iodide. Just you follow. Here when iodine is only one alkyl group is getting iodide, that any of these two will get that iodide, the other one will get hydroxide. That is, oxygen will retain with one of the alkyl group. And at concentrated, both are getting iodide. And in case of asymmetric or mixed ethers, here with concentrated HI, both the two alkyl groups are getting iodine. That is nothing but they are converting into alkyl iodides. So no problem at all, and the other product is water. And altogether here the discussion, the total discussion related to this property is for this purpose. Just you remember. Again you can go through this. With symmetric ether, no problem with low concentrated or high concentrated. When it is symmetric ether, the only variation is at low concentration it is giving alcohol and alkyl iodide. At high concentration 2 moles of alkyl iodide and water. And in case asymmetric ether, here with concentrated HI we are not having any discussion because both the two alkyl groups are getting iodine, iodide, alkyl iodides and then water. But if it is asymmetric or mixed ether and it is reacting with HI, what are the products? That is attracting the much discussion. Now let us discuss on that part first of all. And before going to that, what is the mechanism that involved in this reaction of HI with at low concentration? That is what we are considering with either. For that purpose, let me take this CH3OCH3. When it is reacting with HI, first of all, this H plus will attack on this. Thereby, it is giving protonated ether. Already we know, once it is protonated, then automatically it will become weak nucleophile. So now that protonated ether is attacked by iodide as nucleophile, and thereby it is going out. It is nothing but SN2 mechanism, and it is now giving CH3OH plus CH3I. This is happening at low concentration and temperature, low temperature. And if it is at high temperature, further, that is step 1 and step 2, these two will happen at low temperature. If high temperature and high concentrations are used, high concentration, these two are used, then step 3 is also happening in addition to these two. That is, after formation of this, again the CH3OH is getting protonated and it is forming CH3OH plus H2 plus, and now this CH3OH2 plus will be attacked by I minus, and where it is giving CH3I plus H2O. This is also SN2 step. That is simple. One, in case if it is low concentration, only one methyl iodide will form and alcohol will form. In case if it is concentrated solution and it is of at high temperature, then we have to expect this formed alcohol is again attacked by another mole of HI, ultimately resulting 2 moles of CH3I and H2. Clear? And now, if it is the mechanism, when it is mixed ether or asymmetric ether, what is happening? Where the I minus will attack on protonation of ether. Now let us consider symmetric. Already just what we discussed is, that is dimethyl is a symmetric one. But here you observe, if it is CH3, CH2, O, CH3. Now it is treated with HI at low concentration and low temperature. What is happening? Here this H plus first of all attacks on this, giving protonated ether OH plus CH3. And now in step 2, CH3 O CH3 CH2 OH plus CH3, iodide now has to attack. It is asymmetric, it is mixed ether, and now where this iodide will attack, whether it is going to methyl or to ethyl, when it is SN2 mechanism. Just you remember, in such a case, iodide will always attack less bulky alkyl group, because the bulkiness prevents the attack of that iodide. That's why it preferably attacks on this, thereby the bond goes to this. That means CH3 CH2OH plus CH3I will form. I think you got this idea. And now again let me give one more example. CH3 CH2O CH CH3 CH3. This is isopropyl and it is ethyl. When it is reacting with HI, what is happening? H will go to this, and where this I will go? Can you guess? Yes, I will go to less bulky alkyl group. That means I minus will go to this and it will shift to this. Now here we can expect CH3 CH CH3 OH plus CH3 CH2I, like this. Just you have to remember, when it is SN2 mechanism, just you have to observe that I minus will always attack on less bulky alkyl group because the bulkiness prevents its attack. Clear? And now after studying these two examples, now let me give one more. It is nothing but CH3, CH2, O, C, CH3, CH3, CH3. Now it is reacting with HI. What will be the product? Definitely your expectation is CH3, CH2I plus CH3, 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 OH. It is your expectation, is it not? Because I minus is attacking on less bulky group and H plus after attacking on this, I minus will attack on this, is it not? But the answer is wrong. Here again we are getting CH3, CH3I plus ethyl alcohols are the products. Now you may get the doubt, sir, how it is possible? Already in previous classes what we are doing is I minus is attacking on less bulky group. Here it is less bulky. It is less bulky, it is more bulky. Then how it can attack on more bulk that is nothing but tertiary butyl group. Just you remember, in these two cases it is taking place through SN2 mechanism, is it not? But when it is tertiary alkyl group involved, it is going for SN1 mechanism. And now in SN1 mechanism, okay, if it is following SN1 mechanism, why it is preferably going for attacking on this? Just it is nothing but this one, CH3, CH2, O, C, just you observe, CH3, CH3 and CH3. Here H plus, when attacks on this, it is now giving protonated ether as CH3, CH2, OH plus and C, CH3, CH3, CH3. This is, and now being the SN1 mechanism, this protonated ether has to cleave on its own without the attack of iodide. It has to cleave. And now just where we can expect the cleavage? Which cleavage is creating more stable carbocation? In such a direction it will be cleaved, is it not? So in such a manner, if we observe, this carbocation is tertiary, this carbocation is primary. That's why preferably it will cleave as CH3, CH2OH plus tertiary butyl carbocation will form, and now thus tertiary butyl carbocation will be attacked by I minus, giving tertiary butyl iodide. This is the mechanism, that is nothing but through SN1. So in case of SN1 mechanism, where we can expect that SN1 mechanism? Just when it is tertiary alkyl group is present, not only tertiary, just you observe any other alkyl group which is of allylic in condition, in allylic alkyl group, allylic condition, here also it is going through SN1, thereby the bond cleaves here, I will come to this, H will go to this. And in case if it is benzylic also, it is simple. We can say that where the positive charge carbocation is possible, like this it will happen. Clear? And here you can directly you can guess some products. Say for example, if it is alkyl group and phenyl group or vinyl group, these two are involved in either formation. Already we know the bond between oxygen and carbon is getting double bond character in both these two cases. So in such a case, I will go to this and H will go to this. Here also, H will go to, I will go to this. That is, the bond is breaking between oxygen and alkyl group. I goes to this and H come to this. In case of vinylic and phenylic ethers. Clear? Like that, you have to imagine whether it is going for SN1 or SN2. SN1 makes iodine to attack on the more bulky because it is forming more stable carbocation. Clear? And in case of this, there is no other chance. Only one. That is nothing but it is. Even on heating, just you remember, even on heating, this bond is not cleaved. Whether it is of with concentrated HI or whether it is of with that is dilute HI, the products are same, alkyl iodide and phenol, alkyl iodide and vinyl alcohol. Like that, you have to imagine, just remember, more stable carbocation when involved, the reaction is proceeding through SN1 mechanism. In such a case, iodine will be attached with more bulky groups. Clear? That is about the properties related to these ethers. Okay, thank you.